everyone, my name is Stef Skills, and I'm an artist, mother, educator, and activist living in Chicago. I've been teaching art in the Chicago parks for the past 24 years, and I've been an active style writer and muralist for 30 years. Today, we will learn some style writing basics. Hi, I'm Stef Skills, and today I'll be going over some of the ways to develop a bubble style outline or throwy from your regular handwriting. Most of the time we develop our name, our script name, into a tag, which I went over in the last animation, but I wanted just to break it down to an easy lesson today. So we're going to start by writing our names on paper. My name is Stef, so it's going to go across landscape wise on your paper, or you can use the space that I made available for you on the coloring book page. There's a space to write your name in one of the clouds. And then what we're going to do from there, after we write our names, we're going to build a bubble style around it, like this. So from this bubble style, you will then, I use a marker so you can see it on screen, but I would prefer you guys use pencil and eraser. That way, you can try, but I would be using a pencil and eraser as well, but you wouldn't be able to see it on screen. So I'm using a marker. So after we develop a bubble style around our letters, I also kind of lean my letters a little bit to the right so they'd have a little kind of more of a flow or an attitude. I also exaggerated some of the legs of the letters and how they're sitting, and I also minimized the windows in the letters, which are the negative spaces that happen. So if you have a letter A with a triangle window, you're going to make that a minimal space. So it's almost as though you're blowing your letters up with air and the negative spaces are going away. And another thing that happens as you blow up your letters and the negative space decreases is that your letters will touch each other and overlap. And this is where the magic happens. You want this to happen. You want your letters to actually become one object that's touching each other, as though you could pick them up and move them with a mouse or pick them up and move them directly. So this is really good. When your letters overlap, they can go in, like the S can go in front of the T or the T can go in front of the S. I kind of prefer this letter going behind, kind of alternate. I think my T kind of falls behind my S, my E behind my T, and my F falls behind like that. So this is how I want you to blow up your letters, and then you will erase your inner line. So if I would have done this with pencil, which you wouldn't be able to see on screen, this line will be gone, and you can trace it again on another paper. There's a space on your coloring book page where you can bring down just your bubble letter sketch and reproduce it. You can practice this over and over and over so that you know it. When you do this and I'm teaching you, you're learning it, but until you start doing this on your own, that is when you know it. So I would love for you guys to actually know this process if you're interested. So we go from this, we erase the inner line, the skeleton, and we actually have a hollow, an outline. And this is what develops into a fill-in. So this is the examples I have shown you along the way. Okay, so this is what we've developed so far. We've written our names with evenly spaced across our paper. We've gone around our letters with a bubble outline, and we've decreased the negative space. We've also decreased the negative space in between the letters. And then we erase the inner line and have our bubble letter outline, or our throwy. This is what you call a throwy outline. Throwy outlines will develop into fill-ins. Fill-ins, you're going to fill in the letter structure with colors. So I want to teach you about a 3-color fade. So you'll choose 3 colors. You guys can use crayons, you can use highlighter markers, whatever markers you have. You guys might have these at your school today, or you might have some Sharpies. If you don't have that and you're just working with pencil, you can fill it in with different textures. So let's just say this was your letter. The top might have stripes this way, and the bottom might have stripes that way. And that will be how you'll fade from one texture to another. But if you do have some colors with you today, try to pick 3 colors. I'm gonna go with these 3 colors today. They're similar. I'm going to go from yellow to kind of a light green to a mint green. We'll see how these flow together. Maybe this one might work in there between. You always want to test your colors on the side of your paper. Got some yellow, or on a scratch sheet you can test your colors. Let's see how this is gonna work. Let's see, some of these Sharpies you can't really tell what they are until you start working with them. So I actually like the different hue of this mint color. It's one of my favorite colors. Some of you probably have fancier markers than I do. Some of you might not have any markers, but I'm gonna use these 3 colors. I'm gonna start at the top with the yellow by drawing a line all the way across my colors. And that is what we call a fill-in, filling in the letters. So basically the letters divided into 3 colors horizontally. It's kind of a dried out marker. And after you use markers enough, you'll have some techniques down to how you can make dry markers look fresh and not so toy. So a lot of times dry markers come off looking toy. Toy is a term we use to describe kind of beginners or just whack styles, or they could be whack concepts. If I was doing all of this through computer animation, it might be a great computer animation, but in the school and thought of graffiti, where we are the computer and we are the projector and we make the images, and there's no need for all those machines because we're making something out of nothing in the spirit of hip hop, having a big computer animation of this would be kind of toy. That's why I'm kind of keeping it more organic with the way I teach you. Now, if these markers are opaque, or if you were working with spray paint, this would be more opaque, so you may need to re-outline your throwy. But this is basically what you call a 3-color fade. So now I have the outline and the 3-color fill-in. I'm going to show you guys how to attach a shadow. A shadow is basically where the light falls and creates a shadow away from its light source. So if the light source is coming this way, the shadow is going to fall that way. Basically, you can put a shadow going any direction you want on your letter. I'm going to have it going to the left of my letter. My light source, I'm going to pretend like my light source is coming from here. I'm using red so you guys can see it. Black is preferable. If you have light colors in your fill-in, you want to use dark colors for your outline and your shadow. And you want these colors to be contrasting. If you use similar colors to your fill-in, you will flatten out your piece. The whole idea of adding a shadow is to make as though your piece is popping off the page. So I'm going to attach some lines all going diagonal to the left, away from the sun or the light source, off of the corners of the letters. Now, curvy letters don't really have corners, but they have where they connect, and this is where you will add shadows. This is something you have to practice. I am not a master of 3Ds or shadows, but this is a good starting point. And you want these lines to all be parallel. Like I've already messed up. This is going this way. This is a little deeper, but this is something that you'll perfect along the way. Also, as I have these lines, I'm connecting these lines with a parallel to the shape that I'm shadowing. So I'm making these parallel curves so this shape, this parallel curve is to this shape. Now, if I were with you and I saw that you had some shadows going this way and some shadows going that way, I would have to say that your shadows were pretty toy. And so I would like all of your shadows to go in the direction you pick. You can have them going straight down, you can have them going to the right, and you can have them going up. And for those of you that know a little bit about point perspective, you can have them coming to one point. But that's a little more advanced for this beginner lesson today. So I'm gonna add some shadows here. I'm gonna fill in these shadows. I have a little bit of space right there in the E. A little bit of space between the T and the S. And then I'm going to fill in my shadow, or this is what's called a 3D. Now your shadow can actually have different colors fades, but you just want to make sure whatever color you're adding to your shadow is not used in your fill-in. This is making my piece pop off the page. And I'm kind of correcting it as I go. I'm still a student when it comes to perfecting my lines, my shadows, my fill-ins. I still like to try something new every time I paint or draw. I like doing things over and over too in different colors. That's kind of how you develop your brand, which can lead to having your own company. You can be making your own shirts, your own action figures. All stems from creating your alter ego or your style writing name and developing letters and characters around it. And this also can be a form of activism. You can just add things that you can believe in. You can add style writing to anything you want to write along the way. Most of the message of graffiti is just that I am here, I've been here, and I've been there, and I've been here. This is a very simple message, but very profound, especially for communities that are not represented or are not heard of or not heard from. So right now I'm adding drips to the bottom. You can do fuller drips. And this is just to imply that my piece is so fresh that it's still wet. So a lot of these elements from graffiti have definitely influenced a lot of graphics and advertising, and vice versa. When we walk out our door on an average day, maybe not in the COVID times, but during normal times, we are subject to seeing over 15,000 advertisements before we even make it home. And so graffiti is kind of an answer to that style. It's definitely graphic, eye-catching, has a lot of contrast, and I am creating a very graphic style of my name. so that here is, I'm going to outline this again, outline these letters, mortifying it. If you have a black Sharpie for outline, that's even stronger. I might add some drips into the letters. But basically, this is how you'll do a fill-in. Now, in style writing culture, a lot of artists keep black books or sketchbooks with their sketches and how they develop their styles. In a typical black book session, you might have some friends over and you will draw into each other's books. So a lot of times I'll get a sketchbook when I'm traveling, and this might be the style that I get from someone quickly at a wall if I ask them to get up in my book, or vice versa. I also might add one of my characters on the side, but basically this is how you develop from your name. And you have a bleed off page because my ink bled onto this page. So if you're using on a sketchbook, you wouldn't also use a piece of scrap paper to catch the bleed. But basically we went from this to this today, and that's pretty much our lesson. I hope you guys enjoy it and have some fun representing your own personal style.